Hey guys, I'm here again with another top 5 list, and this time I'm going to try and go over my top 5 favorite movies. So, starting with number 5, I have The Incredible Hulk. And I know this kind of a lot of movie that people seem to forget exists in the MCU, but I never have. I've honestly watched this movie over and over again, and I love it more each time. There's a lot of things I like about it, mostly it's just kind of the way they made the movie honestly is great. It definitely stands out from the rest of the MCU movies. It's more like a horror movie in a way, like a big monster movie, and I really did enjoy that aspect of it. Uh, Another thing that really made this movie great in general is Edward Norton. Don't get me wrong, I love Mark Ruffalo, but for what they were doing here, I did enjoy Edward Norton's performance. He's like this skinny, smart, scientist, and that's kind of that's at least out of all the comics, that's my favorite version of the Incredible Hulk. He's this skinny, nerdy guy who no one will ever think twice to fight, because it's pretty easy to beat him up if you really look at it. Well, not easy, but I mean, just looking at him, you'd think that. But then he hulks out and he becomes this Olympian. They really described it perfectly in the movie. He's an Olympian god, so I really did enjoy that. There's just so many things I liked about this movie. The ending fight versus Abomination, it was honestly, for being huge CG and everything, it really doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty damn good. Just the design of the Hulk, the overall movie, even the simple plot, it really reminds me of the what was it, the 70s Hulk with Lou Ferrigno, and I really did love those. I have the whole box set in my room, and I love going back to them every once in a while. And I really can't explain it, but this movie just really has a special place for me in the whole superhero movies and what kind of got me into them. Because I did start getting into them around this time, and this actually ended up getting me into the Incredible Hulk, and it's been a fun ride ever since. So yeah, the Incredible Hulk, great movie. The special effects actually haven't been that badly dated up until now. They're still pretty damn good. Edward Norton's performance was great. Of course, Thunderbolt Ross is amazing, and I'm glad he's coming back for Civil War in 5 months. So hype. But yeah, number 5, The Incredible Hulk, great movie. If you actually haven't watched it, which I'm sure a lot of people haven't, you need to watch it. It's amazing. Number 4 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, not to say this is a bad movie, because honestly, the next 4 here are really hard for me to decide which one goes in which, but I originally had this in number 4, as a number 2 spot, but I moved it back in number 4 just in the sheer way that I really don't watch it as much as the next ones here. It's a great movie, just the issues they tackled politically, it's a really different type of superhero movie. If you ask anyone, they'll tell you that this movie is amazing. I watched this about 2-3 times in theaters. The Winter Soldier, everything about it was just amazing. Hell, even though Winter Soldier, he looked so perfect in this. He looked comic accurate. Even the scene where Winter Soldier punches Cap's shield, that's straight from Ed Brubaker's comic. And it's just kind of the things that this movie represents. It fits all ages, almost after the whole 9/11 incident. The government spying on people. What is better, security or freedom? And they really try and tackle that issue in their own comic book way, and it really works so well. Definitely, performance has gotten a lot better from Captain America: The First Avenger, and I think what made this movie more is so many people thought it was going to flop. Mostly the directors, they're comedy directors, they're not going to do anything good, and they really blew everyone away. They just turned a whole bunch of heads, and now they're taking on Civil War, Infinity War, and it's just amazing what they did with this movie. Just everything, all the fan service. You got the Falcon. They even worked in Artem Zola and all the references to Moon Knight, Doctor Strange. It's just, this movie's so good. And it's just kind of what it did for the whole Marvel universe as well. Because obviously you have S.H.I.E.L.D. that was leading up to this. And then this movie really just changes the scope of the whole MCU. The fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. was Hydra the whole time, it really just not only was it a great movie, it was just kind of like a landmark almost in the Marvel movies, because it really was this big moment and it changed the way everything works. And even the TV shows, like in Daredevil, like, oh my god, it's just great, and it hasn't even stopped. Like, it's still affecting everything that's going on today. So I mean, yeah, it's a great movie. The impact this movie had on the MCU and where we are right now with them, it's a really great movie, and as much as it deserves the number 2 spot, I honestly, it's not one of the movies that I watch too much by myself, so I enjoy it. Like, maybe if I was with a friend or something, I watch it a whole bunch of times, but as far as like a fun, entertaining time, it's definitely a good number 4 spot, and I do think the next number 3 spot definitely has the right place for me right here, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. A great movie, another movie, much like every other Marvel movie that comes out, oh, it's gonna be Marvel's first flop, and it ends up like breaking a whole bunch of records, or just really surpassing everyone's expectations. This movie was super entertaining. I've watched this movie so many times. Like, even people who don't really like comic books love this movie. It's honestly just a really fun time. It's amazing. And as much as it doesn't really move the Marvel Cinematic Universe forward, at the same time it does, because it kind of gives you that insight as to there is more to the Marvel Universe than just like Earth. You know, you got space, you got this whole, like, these whole other alien races, you know, and there's a whole bunch of things going on that affect the galaxy, but the Avengers and the big main heroes don't even know about it. So I do love that aspect about it. And of course, I love the fan service. They worked in the Celestials, and that was really cool. They even worked in Cosmo, which, I mean, Cosmo isn't really this big character, but I mean, he's like the leader of the nowhere, like, space station where all the traders go and everything, and as they don't really work him in, he was just kind of like a fan service in here, but I loved it nonetheless. Cosmo was a pretty cool character in the comics, just for the little time he has. But yeah, everything about this movie, Chris Pratt, you know, Zoe Saldana or something like that. I don't remember her name that much, sorry about that. Gamora, anyway, Star-Lord, Gamora, Groot, you know, Bradley Cooper as Rocket. They were all amazing. The chemistry between them really clicked, and you could feel it in the movie. And you could tell even more James Gunn, you know, director of Super and a lot of like other low budget movies. No one really thought he'd do anything with this, and he really knocked it out of the ballpark. I mean, this movie was just amazing. Really entertaining, really funny, and it had its heartfelt moments too. Now, one complaint I do have about it is Ronan. I mean, yeah, like, much like Marvel's villains, he's kind of one and done. He's just there to fill the plot, man. Not really much else, but even he did a great performance with the little time he had in the movie, and I thought he was great. Especially in the last moment where he's like, oh, but you're human, you know, how are you holding this gem so long? And that's a really cool moment. But yeah, this is definitely deserving of my number 3 spot here. Great movie, absolutely entertaining, and I would say if you haven't watched it, go see it. But I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you've probably seen Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, and if you haven't, why not? Like, you need to watch this fast. Definitely well worth your time and money if you're gonna buy it. And number 2. Now, this is the one I really battled with. Number 2 and the number 1 spot. Batman Begins. So, now a lot of people really love The Dark Knight, and that's their like go-to Batman movie. Like, oh, Dark Knight started it all. But I mean, if you really look at it, I think Batman Begins is like the definitive Batman movie so far. Other than the like Michael Keaton Batman movie, that was amazing. You know, I love that. You gotta acknowledge that. But it's just the way they tackle the origin story for Batman here. I really do love that. It's so well handled. Christian Bale really takes this role in a different direction as Batman. His Bruce Wayne is decent. I'm not going to say it's the best one out there, but he really does his job with it. It's not bad. It's pretty good. Oh man, it's just one thing. My most favorite part for this movie is probably when they're training. with Ra's al Ghul and everything. They're fighting on that ice cap, and Ra's al Ghul starts talking to Bruce Wayne like, well, you know, all this is not your fault, Bruce. It's your dad's. He was a coward. And he's not really calling his dad a coward, but he's also just trying to prove a point to Bruce Wayne, like, you can't be afraid. And it's just the way they tackle how Bruce Wayne gets his like ideals as Batman, and how everything kind of comes together once he does become the Batman. It's really good. They got a lot of good actors for this. Liam Neeson, he was a really great Ra's al Ghul. I do like him. Yeah, it's pretty good. Another thing I really loved about this is Gotham in itself. It's not like The Dark Knight where it's literally just pretty much Chicago. It's actually a character within itself. It looks grimy. It looks... Now, I'm not a big fan of the Gotham TV show, but they really do get Gotham right in there. It looks... Because a character should be a... Gotham should be a character unto itself, not just a city. Because that's what makes Gotham great. It's this whole like living, breathing thing. You know, it honestly lives off of Batman as much as Batman lives off of Gotham. And I think they really got it great here. Like, there's this whole rundown secret part of Gotham that no one knows about. It's like the ghetto, in other words. So I really do love what they do with it. And Scarecrow, of course. I really do love the way he is. He's really creepy, and he really just sells his role as Scarecrow. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He's just a really good, crazy guy. Like the part where he's like, oh, it's the Batman. Like, he's just obsessed with him. And I really do like it. Now, I do wish they would have kind of explored more as to like the whole Arkham Asylum part, where like he's always injecting Batman with all this and Batman just resists it. But it is Batman Begins. Batman isn't fully Batman yet, so but for what it was, Scarecrow was great, the actor was great, the whole movie as a whole is honestly amazing. Like, it's truly Batman, I think, because they show his whole ninja aspect. He's literally a detective in this. And even the bat sonar he has to call out the bats is just comic book, and it's amazing. It's really well handled. I really wish they would have kept this going into Dark Knight, and I really wish they would have kept it going into Dark Knight Rises, but sadly they didn't, and I'm not going to get into Dark Knight Rises, but I really do wish what they did here would have translated into the other two movies, because this was truly an amazing movie. And it really is deserving of a number 2 spot. And I know to a lot of people this is their like second favorite movie or their favorite movie out of any like superhero thing that's come out, just because it's entertaining, but it also kind of sells home a lot of messages to people. So yeah, that's my number 2 spot. And for number 1, this one is Spider-Man, the 2002 Tobey Maguire one. Now, yeah, it's pretty campy and everything, but that's what I love about it. It's kind of its own thing. Cause they, at this time, what was going on in the comics, they didn't really talk about it in here. They made this movie its own thing, its own story, and still taken from past storylines. But I do like that they just kind of ignored the comics and made their own thing. Because at this point, Marvel was going bankrupt, and it was really up to X-Men, Blade, and Spider-Man to kind of keep it going. It's really these movies that made Marvel the financial success that they are today, and it's because of movies like Spider-Man that we do have Winter Soldier, that we have Civil War coming, you know, that we have the Avengers. So I think not just in terms of being a great movie, it's kind of what it represents and what it kind of gave us and the doors that it opened. But yeah, enough of I guess about all that. Overall, the movie was really amazing. Tobey Maguire is a great Peter Parker. Now, I know a lot of you like Andrew Garfield. I don't mind him, but he's just not that kind of nerdy Peter Parker we all know and love. And Tobey Maguire is that kind of nerdy guy. He's really pathetic and kind of creepy at some points, where he's just like stalking Mary Jane. But yeah, there's a lot of things to love about this movie. Of course, William Dafoe as Green Goblin. Oh man, that's just the whole thing unto itself. He really sells Green Goblin. I do wish they would have kind of made a more comic book looking suit, but it's not bad for what it is, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. And honestly, I think it's just really kind of a I want to say it's a nostalgia factor with this movie, but it's really not. I always find myself coming back to this movie and watching it again and again, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really campy and kind of cliche spots to it that are like, but overall it is an entertaining movie. It's really what Spider-Man should be, and yeah, it's just a great movie. I do love the fight scenes. They're pretty well choreographed. The acting is pretty good for, a superhero movie. My only complaint would probably be Mary Jane. I don't know. She's good in the role, but she's kind of annoying at the same time. She's not really Mary Jane, so I don't know. That's probably my only complaint with this movie. Other than that, it's honestly a great movie. It's just a really entertaining time. It's fun to watch, and it really gets you invested in the story. Like, by the end of it, you're like, oh, like, kill Green Goblin, this guy's terrible. But at the same time, you can understand his position. And of course, I think one of the things that really makes me like this movie is probably the ending. The whole end swing sequence where Spider-Man swinging through New York and he's kind of running off buildings, jumping into the sky in iconic Spider-Man poses. It just kind of screams Spider-Man to me. Like, every time I watch it, I'm just like, that's Spider-Man, dude. Like, that's Spider-Man. It just really puts a smile on my face, and it's always great every time I watch it. So that's probably why I have Spider-Man as my number one spot. It's just Spider-Man. It's what he should be. And I don't know, you guys probably don't know this, but Spider-Man is my favorite character, so maybe there's some bias here, but it is a whole list of opinions, so it's all biased anyways, So it doesn't really matter. Can't use that against me. So yeah, Spider-Man, probably my favorite movie out of all the superhero ones. Until maybe like Doctor Strange comes out or Civil War, because I'm pretty sure those are gonna blow me away. But for the beginning of 2016, I'd have to say Spider-Man is probably my favorite movie, just because of what it represents and what doors it opens as to what movies are coming out now and everything. So yeah, that's probably my list. Number 5, Incredible Hulk. Number 4, Winter Soldier. Number 3, Guardians. Number 2, Batman Begins. And number 1, Spider-Man. So that's my list. In the comments below, you guys can tell me why you agree or you don't agree, or maybe why you don't like some of these movies. I'd be really interested in knowing that. But yeah, do you agree with my list or don't you agree with my list? And let me know in the comments below why. And if you enjoyed this, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and all the other things people usually promote at the end of their videos. Thanks for listening.